I think what we all do miss is the communal kind of experience, seeing a movie with a big crowd, especially something like Avengers Endgame. That was a blast, seeing it with a large crowd. Um,
Snakes on a
especially,
plane.
what was that?
Snakes on a plane.
Oh, yeah, Snakes on a Plane is a good example. 8 Mile. We were
I
just talking about that
was gonna
recently.
say Eight
That was
Mile.
one that was a lot of fun seeing with a large crowd on opening weekend.
But for like oddly annoying reasons, though. It's because everyone was very annoying during that movie, but it made sense.
And yeah, I mean, by the time they're getting down to like the rap battles, they're just hooting and hollering. It felt like the right type of energy for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
And it was a one of a kind experience. I've never seen anything like that since.
Yeah.
But if there was a movie that we could all see together this year, since Mr. Doug over here is down in Florida, what would that movie be? And since we have no idea when things are going to be normal, and people are going to be going to the movies every single week and things like that.
Or when things are even coming out.
Yeah, exactly. That too. What do you guys think it would be?
I mean, I would say
It's got to be something big.
yeah.
You know? It's got to be a good popcorn flick. Something that Doug can't possibly sleep through.
Something big, yes. Big popcorn flick.
Unfortunately,
What's the challenge?
probably won't be in 3D because you know how much Doug loves his 3D.
Shame.
Yeah, I mean, Murph wouldn't see a 3D movie.
I mean, it would have been Avatar
I
2,
wouldn't either.
but Jimbo pushed it back another year.
Yeah.
What would it be, Doug? What would the movie be? Since you're so far away, you determine our destiny.
What's keeping you awake?
I mean, I think we all get our Easter baskets from the Easter Bunny, and then head on down to the movie theater
The old
and
movie
watch
house?
some No Time to Die.
Okay.
candy in hand.
Are you saying we're sneaking candy into the movie theater, Doug? That's not allowed.
I feel like you can bring your Easter basket.
I
into the movie theater.
I prefer to sneak full on bologna sandwiches into a movie theater.
Yo.
Or subs.
The days of sneaking Italian
Yeah,
subs into
I
the
was
movie
just
theaters with a Snapple was
Full Italian
those are the
subs.
days.
Into the movie theater. That was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, No Time to Die is definitely a good pick. I mean,
100%.
it's been like a
It's the end of
it's an end of an era of Daniel Craig. I feel like it's been like
yeah.
it's been practically 20 years at this point. It's been 15 years since Casino Royale. So that's a good pick. We saw a bunch of them in theaters together back in the day from this iteration of Bond. So yeah, I think that would be the one. But is it just has to come out? Because it's already been pushed like 3 times.
Yeah, it cannot get pushed again.
We were supposed to have seen it together back in the end of 2019.
Yeah.
And then the spring of 2020, the fall of 2020. Now, will it actually happen in the spring of 2021? We can only hope.
Now at this point, that movie's gotten pushed back more than Wonder Woman, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, because Wonder Woman did like small incremental pushes versus MGM, who's like, all right, we're going to push this 6 months back.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is like, push it back 3 weeks and see what's happened with COVID in 3 weeks. And then we push it back again and again.
Yeah.
Wasn't the most sound process, but I don't know, man. I'm just hoping we get to see No Time to Die for Easter. Be a nice,
This movie looks so damn good.
spring breakish type of thing.
It really does.
It really does. I saw that,
And I want to see it on like
in
the biggest screen possible, like IMAX, true IMAX.
We're gonna have to deal with a crowd for that.
You might have to fight people to get in.
Oh man, we can only hope.
Go back to the time when you have to stand online to get tickets before they sell out for the movie.
I'm good with never doing that again.
You don't need to do it anymore. We
Yeah.
have to buy things online.
Yeah, and pick our own seats. Ah, so
I
nice.
can't wait to go
so
see
very nice.
No Time
We're
to Die.
spoiled.
Yeah, we are.
Oh yeah.
But I can't wait to paint a picture now. I can't wait to see No Time to Die. Walk into the packed movie theater lobby. Get my my giant Bavarian Legend. I'm gonna eat it myself and die a happy man.
You're like Bob Ross right now, painting that picture.
And my giant soda.
You can feel your feet sticking to the floor of the movie theater as you walk through.
Sit in
You
my,
don't know what's on those floors, but you're sticking anyway.
put my cup down, and it
Yeah.
sticks right into that cup holder.
You finally make it out of the movie theater, ready to run to the bathroom, and you see a line that is as long as the movie theater leading out of the men's room. You cry.
And you piss
Or,
yourself. The end.
or we all start watching it, and then the aliens that showed up in the beginning of 2021 were all just probing us and watching us as we're in our own happy space, and we're in a tube somewhere like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Or
Because
you get in a fist fight with one of your friends in the car ride.
about the
after.
Simpsons movie.
Anything's possible.
All these are great,
Doug.
great positive
It's a
things.
little inside joke for the viewers.
Our friend said something about him sleeping during the movie, and he punched him in the face. Is that really the story? No.
That's not the
Pretty-
story.
It's similar
Can't
enough.
prove
Sadly, it is similar enough.
it.
All right, want to move on to the main show?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, gang. Welcome to 2021, and welcome to Live Breathe Film. This is episode. What is it now? 28. You're here, as always, with Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph. Thanks for joining us. Our main topic today is the best films of 2020. However, before we get to that, let's run through what we watched over the past week, since news has been pretty much non-existent over the past week due to the holidays. All right. What we watched. So like we said previously, we're going to talk Cobra Kai Season 3. We will talk spoilers, but before we get into that, let's talk about a few other things that each of us watched. Corey?
Yeah, I kept going down the OJ rabbit hole. I started to watch the Made in America ESPN documentary. I guess that came out around the same time as the show did.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah. So I really like it so far. I was expecting it to be more like just about the crime, but I liked how they started out with OJ's backstory. They talked about playing in college and in the NFL. A lot of stuff that I really did not know about him. Because we weren't even
I mean,
alive.
it really showed how big of like an icon he was.
Yeah.
He rushed for 2,000 yards.
I really didn't understand fully how important he was.
Yeah, he really was like
to Americans.
He was a pop culture icon in like the late 70s and like early 80s. I didn't realize he did all these commercials and was like all over the place. Like you couldn't.
What was it? Hertz?
Yeah, the Hertz commercial. Go OJ, go!
Go indeed.
Run OJ, run!
Run OJ, get in your white Bronco and drive to Mexico.
Yeah, it was just all the things that centered around like his popularity in like the 70s and 80s was like super interesting to me, because I remember I've heard like a lot about it from my brother and from my father, that he was everywhere. Like you walked into the supermarket, you saw magazines, newspapers with him on it. He was just everywhere. So, and I didn't really know that was the case. I just really know him for, unfortunately, for the crime that happened. But I liked how
he's essentially the Adrian Peterson of our time.
Yeah.
Of their time.
Yeah. And he was a house, man. Like he was insane how good he was in his prime when he was playing on the Bills.
Yeah.
Like 2,000 yards.
So it was
one of 9 people to ever do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
him, Jim Brown, right?
In high school, he was probably still only like one of 3 people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
I also didn't realize that he retired to be a movie star, like so early in his career. I mean, running backs don't last very long, but
They
I mean,
they definitely lasted longer though back
yeah,
then.
Yeah.
absolutely. So for him to be like, I want to, I want to pursue my movie career, or just something that he was, he wasn't an actor. He
He's a
was,
fucking terrible actor too.
he was. I mean,
He just works in like The Naked Gun because it's a comedy.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's all I know him from. So when it got to that segment in the show where they kind of went through a lot of the movies that he was known for, and I was just like, oof, this is rough. Except for like Naked Gun because it worked. This is Norbert. Um, but yeah, I think I'm on halfway through episode 3 now, so it's now they're like really getting into
the murders
the
and stuff.
murders and like
The
starting with the
killing.
beginning of the case, and yeah, it's definitely a way different lens. Like you said last week, watching this, you see, I mean, like so many different perspectives compared to the show where you're just seeing, the perspective of OJ being sympathized. Really, there's a lot more going on there. So I'm very excited to continue and just see how like the circus really, unfolded. Because I remember bits and pieces. I remember the Bronco. I remember, uh, like the hearing at the end, like from deciding, that he was not guilty, but I don't really remember the details. So I definitely excited to continue watching it. Really well shot. That's one thing I was like really shocked with. Like production value is fantastic.
Is it 30 for 30?
Yeah, they presented it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
Yeah, so I'll report back when I finish it. I'll probably finish it this week. The episodes are crazy long. They're like 90 minutes.
Yeah,
Five
they're all
90
like
minute.
feature length episodes.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
lot.
How many episodes is it?
5.
5.
Okay. It's not terrible if it's only 5 episodes.
It worked.
Yeah.
It's basically a 10-hour series.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I recommend it. I
little
mean,
bit less.
I know Murph recommended it to me, but if you guys haven't seen it, if you feel like watching it, it's a really really good watch. It's on ESPN Plus. I read something that it was on Hulu, but it might not be on Hulu anymore.
Yeah, I think that's outdated.
Yeah. But ESPN Plus. I mean, if you have Disney Plus, you get ESPN Plus, I think, for free. So you can just download the app.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask what that's included in.
Yeah, because I watched it with my girlfriend, and she has like a standalone Disney Plus account, and she had ESPN Plus as well. So that's how we watched it. But yeah, both of us are really
Good to
liking
know.
it.
Cool. All right, Doug.
I watched The Vast of Night on Amazon Prime.
Ooh, what is that?
Have any of you guys seen this movie?
No.
JP watched it earlier this year, right?
Yeah, I talked about it earlier in 2021 when it came out. One of the few movies I saw this year.
Well, I completely forgot that you watched it because I was like, this sounds interesting. It's neat. When I started watching the movie, I was like, this kind of feels like a Murph movie. The movie starts where it's like you're looking at like and JP probably said all this already in 2019.
2020.
But
I'm remembering everything.
We didn't
I said,
start this
so-
podcast in 2019.
I'm like, I was
Oh, there
thinking
you
that
go.
myself. I'm like, wait a minute.
just feels like it's been
Celebrating our second year of Liberty Film.
But there's it was like a old school TV, and it's kind of like starts where like the camera slowly pans into the TV, and it's like kind of like I think they started like a Twilight Zone episode basically.
Yeah.
So right from the start, like that's their influence. That's what they're going for, is to make this kind of feel like a Twilight Zone episode. And I think for the most part, they succeed in that respect. It's set in like the 1950s. It's pretty much just follows 2 kids, a guy and a girl. The guy hosts a radio program, and the girl is manning what'd you call that? Like a call?
It's like a
I don't know what
switchboard.
that's called.
Or
A
an
switchboard.
operator.
She's managing a switchboard. It is basically the operator connecting calls. And so a strange frequency starts being emitted into the town, and basically it just follows these two characters as they try to figure out what's causing the frequency and like what's going on. And of course there's like a sci-fi element to it. um, but yeah, just I don't want to get too much into the story because I think probably the less you know the better going into this movie. But it was pretty cool. They did some cool stuff with the camera, where the camera just like has these really long shots.
I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the movie is one shot, if
there's
I'm not
definitely
mistaken.
there's definitely cuts.
Yeah,
It's not like
they
1917 where it's like no cuts,
no, but
but there are
like
long shots, and they're like pretty long and
I have
neat.
my notes. I have my
Uh,
notes from when I watched it.
but yeah, I'm surprised, Murph, you haven't seen this because it seems like straight up your alley, just because you're a big Twilight Zone fan.
So it's on the list. I think it is on my list already from after JP talked about it.
Yeah, yeah. Like the whole opening scene is one shot, is what I was saying, and then
That's
it cuts
always
to
cool.
something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. They go throughout the whole town too, so they'll leave
Yeah,
the school, and then you follow them through every single road, and then they show up at the other place, and they'll go to a different place like that. It's really cool.
and apparently it's like all done on super low budget. Like they had the camera on like carts and were wheeling like the cart for some of those extended shots. So I thought that was pretty cool because they did it all on kind of like a shoestring budget. Um, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought they achieved what they were going for, which was to kind of do like a cool Twilight Zone, like a throwback to Twilight Zone episode movie.
Yeah, that's exactly
Nice.
what it felt like. The ending's a little disappointing. Is really the only thing I was thinking.
Yeah, but it ended kind of like how a Twilight Zone episode could end.
They're often very disappointing endings. Yeah. Yeah.
It has a good mood throughout, and I thought the actors in it did a good job. I had to use the subtitles for the radio host character because he talks a lot of times with a cigarette in his mouth, and I found that made it difficult for him to hear. But
I watch everything on
I tend to
subtitles,
watch most things.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say I tend to watch most things with subtitles because
Do you like
the music's.
This is it. All right, finish what you're saying,
Go
and
ahead.
then all right. What with the subtitles? When you guys watch it, do you focus more on like the subtitle? Like, do you always read the subtitles even if you like hear what's going on?
I go back and forth.
Yeah,
I try to make a conscious effort so I can see what's happening.
Yeah, because like I try to do it, but then I'm always so focused on the subtitles. And
yeah. If you
like,
watch,
I don't mind if it's a foreign movie, but like
Yeah.
if you're speaking a language I understand, like it's frustrating when I'm just staring at words that I can hear, and I'm reading them at the same time.
Yeah.
I've noticed that
I-
like with when you, especially from watching anime and stuff, like you learn to kind of like be able to like bounce back and forth and scan
Yeah.
the subtitles as you're watching. I guess it occurs as you watch more stuff with
It's
subtitles.
interesting. I feel like a lot of people watch shows or movies with subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I've been
because
playing
they
a
prefer it.
game lately. I've been playing a game lately because a lot of the Netflix shows, their subtitles are wrong, and it bothers me so much. What they say and what gets subtitled. What gets subtitled is it's the gist of what they're saying, but it's not every word, and that bothers me so much. I noticed it with Cobra
That would
Kai.
be annoying.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's annoying.
While we're complaining about subtitles, there's certain things I've watched, like the Tenet Blu-ray, where it's like for English, it's not subtitles, it's closed captioning, and it's like I'm not deaf. I don't want to hear I don't want the description of the sounds to be at the bottom of the screen. Like, why isn't English subtitles an option?
Just in brackets, Wong. I've noticed too that it kind of spoils some things because when they speak in other languages, it's the translation of the language instead of what the language says. So there's been a couple shows where I would have no idea what they say, but it says like in French and then it's in English.
It'd be funny if you're watching something where the character like says something quietly to another character, but like you're not supposed to know what they're saying to one another, like the end of Lost in Translation, and then just the subtitle guy just makes up like dialogue for that conversation.
That would be amazing.
That would be great.
Like, okay, this is what
usually
I
it's just
want
like-
Bill Murray to say to Scarlett Johansson at the end of this movie.
And it's just, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. And that's the end of Lost in Translation. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm all for
Subtitles.
Sorry for completely hijacking this in regards to subtitles. Anything else?
It had to be said, man. It had to be said. Subtitles.
Yeah.
It's kind of a great way to watch things, but it's also fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a different experience for sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Doug,
most like British television. I watched the subtitles.
That's
Lord.
You wanted more.
Yeah, it's
Even that I
English,
don't understand it.
Yeah,
When you were asking for more Murph, you were asking for more on the subtitle conversation, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
That's what I figured.
Like,
That's what I figured.
Let's keep this motherfucker rolling.
It's our feature presentation subtitles. Am I right?
Am I right or wrong? Go.
Oh man.
All right. Unless you have anything else to add about the Vast of Night.
That's the Vast of Night. Subtitles.
Cool beans.
It's a good movie.
All right, JP. It looks like you watched one of those popular Netflix shows that I've been hearing about.
Yeah, I
lately.
did. I've watched the top 2 most popular Netflix shows in the last 2 days. I had very little to watch this week because it's been New Year's. I was doing my partying. I was doing my recovering. And then I got caught in the crossfire of Bridgerton, which is one of many Victorian English women-centric TV shows that I've watched in my household, and by far my least favorite of them all. I thought it was fucking terrible. The only redeeming thing about this show was that the soundtrack is fucking great because it's all like English orchestral versions of pop songs. So at one point there's Billie Eilish's Bad Guy, and you just have like violins playing the chorus to it. We were actually listening to this on New Year's Day for a little while because it was fucking great. It's interesting to listen to. But in the long lines of things like Pride and Prejudice and I can't even think of all the other things that I've watched. This ranks fairly low.
Well, Pride and Prejudice is
story was-
like tip top.
Yeah, it is, but still boring and weird. This is boring and weird. It's like
This looks so
Another-
bad.
it's really bad.
So
if
Julia,
you've ever-
so my
if
wife
you've
was
ever been caught
watching
in-
this.
If you've ever been caught in the crossfire of Gossip Girl as well,
Oh
it's
yeah. Uh-huh.
Victorian English Gossip Girl.
Oh, I saw this trailer
That's-
over the weekend. Kate was watched this trailer and was like, "Oh, this looks amazing."
Yeah, so my wife has this on. I think she watches it while we do this podcast. And I walked out, and it was orchestral Shawn Mendes, I think.
Yep, there's a lot of it in there.
And there was like some dialogue between these two characters, and I'm like, this show looks so bad. Looks like it belongs on the CW.
It's not. I think it's a little bit better than the CW show, but it's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. For someone from the perspective of someone that likes that kind of stuff, my wife was a fan. So people that like things like Pride and Prejudice and all that will probably enjoy it. It's a little too fucking out there for me. Apparently, it's not based on the books by any means. They take a lot of liberties with it, which I was struggling to understand. There's a lot of weird points of it. I don't want to devote too much time to Bridgerton, but
Tell us all.
definitely not making my top 3 movies of top 3 TV shows of 2021. I'll tell you that much right now. But
Is it
bright and
eligible,
colorful,
or
at
is this a
least.
20? Is it a 2020
This-
show, or did it come out?
Ooh, it
on
might have
New
been a
Year's Day?
2020 show.
No, it was
may have
off
come
this
out later.
disqualified.
Eve.
There
Oh,
you
it's
go. Okay, I'm not
disqualified.
going to go back and edit my 2021 stuff.
Fair.
So no need to publish that. Yeah, Bridgerton. Yeah,
All right.
not my cup of tea.
All right, let's dive
What'd you watch, Murph?
into mine. So yeah, I had two things that I was going to talk about, and then they both got bumped down into multiple people watched or my best of the year list. So I'll talk about a random movie that I watched on Showtime. It's called Best in Show. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it
Oh,
before.
it's about dogs.
It is about dogs. It's a mockumentary film by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy. They co-wrote it, and Christopher Guest directed it. Um, I don't know. They've done like 4 films that are very similar in style. They have a lot of the same cast, other than basically Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy. They come up with the scenes, and they come up with like the characters and like their backgrounds and everything like that. But they don't do any sort of rehearsals or anything. They just have their actors like improv the scenes, um, which is really cool. Um, it's got Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Jennifer Coolidge. So you got Stifler's mom. So you got Stifler's mom, and you got Jim's dad.
Nice.
Who else we got in it? Michael McKean. Saul's brother.
It's got John was John O'Hurley, whatever his name is.
John Michael Higgins.
John Michael, yeah, the announcer.
Oh yeah,
because he does the dog shows.
Is that?
I don't know if he did them before this movie, but he does all the dog shows now on Thanksgiving. He is the host.
Well, you basically brought up I think they had an actor playing the host, but the movie has a commentating team that I think is now the funniest in any movie that I've seen. It's surpassed Gary Cole and Jason Bateman in Dodgeball.
Oh my goodness!
And it is essentially only because of Fred Willard. He's basically the color commentator who doesn't know anything about dog shows and who gets to come in and basically compare everything to like baseball and just making like inappropriate jokes. Just the worst commentary possible. And nearly every single line he had, I was like laughing out loud. I had heard he was like the best part about the movie, but when he shows up and he starts going, I was like, God damn, this is well done, sir. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen him in. Since I always enjoyed him and stuff, but never found him to be like the funniest person ever. But yeah, the movie just deals with a bunch of different people putting their dogs in the whatever this dog show is, the Mayflower Kennel Club dog show, which is a fictional one. But yeah, all the characters are completely outrageous, and everyone in it, you're gonna like. Jane Lynch is one of the main people as well in the film, so you're gonna recognize nearly everyone you see in it. And now I'm gonna go back and watch 2 of their other ones that they've done because I'd already previously seen For Your Consideration, which was their 4th one. But and Christopher Guest also, he was one of the writers of This Is Spinal Tap, so that's kind of how he started that whole mockumentary type thing, was from doing that one. And then him and Eugene Levy just joined forces and did these 4 together, from like the mid 90s to the mid 2000s.
Nice.
But yeah,
I was, for those fact checkers out there, I was completely fucking wrong. Completely fucking wrong. I live on a different plane of existence, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the other commentator, I don't know if he was a comedic actor or if he legitimately was like a dog type actor or a dog show guy, because the way he responds to everything Fred Willard says sounds like someone who would be like so enthusiastic about this dog show thing and just like so annoyed by everything that he's hearing by the other commentator.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what I got. Want to run through Cobra Kai and let everyone that has not watched take out their headphones, skip to the next section. You can easily click on the feature presentation time stamp.
Spoilers are incoming.
Get to that.
Yep.
Exactly. If you do not want to hear about Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso and their trials and tribulations throughout season 3 of Cobra Kai, Get the fuck out now.
Yeah,
Let's go,
leave.
JV.
Leave my dojo.
Exactly. Quiet.
Ah, God.
All right, man. What did you think?
Season 3.
You
You
just started.
know?
You just finished it right before we started filming, right?
Yeah, about 2 hours ago I finished watching this, and for the first 3 quarters of the season, I thought they honestly had lost it. Because I think the last two episodes saved it and brought it up to an acceptable level of, a good show. It went from just being kind of a ho hum meh season of a show to being a genuinely good season of the show. I thought most of the season kind of meandered for a little bit, and then they really fucking kicked it into gear at the end. What do you think about the pacing of this?
I didn't have the problems that you had. I don't know why. I'm just like an unabashed, like, I just love the show and these characters. Even I know it's so soap opera-y.
Oh yeah,
It is so unrealistic. Like so many of the things. Like those kids should have been arrested so many times throughout the season.
they should be dead.
Kreese should be in jail. So many people should be in jail. But I don't know, man. I enjoy it. I don't know. I'd say it was on par with season 2 for the most part. But yeah, those last 2 episodes took it to another level. They
Yep.
kind of felt like their own thing. Like they could have been like a movie, like its own separate movie.
Yeah.
And that is something that I did see in some of the reviews I read prior, was that the last 2 episodes, like the end of the season, is kind of what saved the season for them.
Yep. Yeah, it was a very strong finish. And yeah, they did a lot of cool stuff throughout that. So I liked the John Kreese flashbacks.
Yeah.
I thought they were really cool. And the one thing that I was mentioning before this that I really noticed right before is when he's going up to fight the captain. Everyone's calling him Johnny the whole time. He's going up to fight the captain that abuses him, and simultaneously when they're showing that, it's Johnny fighting his old sensei that abused the shit out of him.
Wow.
And it's sort of like now everything
I connected
is
a lot
turned.
of the things, like obviously the snakes being in the pit and things
Yeah.
like that, but I did not notice that aspect of it.
That's just kind of what it felt like. That was the whole turn, and that Kreese just became a fucking psychopath after that.
Kind of like the end of Mank. I was going like back and forth.
And it builds,
it's telling
and
the
then
story that ends up being made.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, and then you realize that Johnny took that and he went on a completely different tangent to it. It took a little bit of magic from Elizabeth Shue, who was having a renaissance in the past.
She really is, man. I love Elizabeth Shue. I am so happy for this comeback. She's great in everything.
Oh,
but
yeah, she's fantastic.
Her return as Allie was like pretty much perfect.
I'm so worried too, because you think that Johnny's just gonna fuck everything up
because that's
again.
what happens on the show. Every time something good happens,
so angry.
Something bad happens.
I know, and I was getting so fed up with that because I was like, "Oh, great, here we fucking go again."
Yeah, I thought
it's
the same
gonna be
thing.
Another thing.
I'm like, oh, Carmen's gonna walk in and see them like together,
or the Facebook pictures or something.
Yeah.
And then when he goes back after the fight and he knocks on the door and Carmen's like crying, I was like, "Oh, great, she saw something even after he." But then no, it's just
they faked us out, which was I imagine they thought viewers would be thinking like that.
Sure.
Because they've done it so many times already. I mean, when Robbie walked in on Miguel and
yeah, which was weird. Why the fuck was he why was he there?
I don't know.
He just shows up out of nowhere.
He would have went to the LaRusso's house first.
One would think.
But no.
Yeah.
This season did feel like it was a lot of like stalling in order to set up the end game.
Yes.
Like this does like the end of season 3 seems like the end game's been set. Now it is Daniel and Johnny together in their battle against Kreese for like the soul of karate in the valley and the soul of Robbie Keane. Like that's where it seems like it's going. We've got the heroes and the villains like in their right positions now. Hawk is reverted back to being with his binary brother and Dimitri and being with Miguel. And you've got Robbie now on the side of Kreese, kind of doing that like Anakin Skywalker, like
so Star Wars when he's like, come son.
Yeah.
At the end of it, I was like, and then he's just staring down his dad. He's like, you can't stop it, Dad. You just gotta know what he's looking out for you. No, you can't, son. And it was, yeah, it was very Star Wars.
And now like each of them have their like prize student. Like Daniel's got Sam, Johnny's got Miguel, and Kreese has Robbie.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, one thing to note is that in the universe of Cobra Kai, bones heal at a ridiculous
really fast.
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get spinal surgery and not feel your legs and be walking in a week.
Yeah, because I mean, let's say they go to school in California. I'm going to be generous and say late August versus most likely early September, or even mid-August. He is fully like healed and fighting at Christmas time.
Like right before Christmas time, he's.
So
and
yeah,
then
not realistic.
Dimitri breaks his arm. And
he was healed
in a matter of like a week and a half.
Yeah, real fast. Because I would have to assume that break happened like closer to Thanksgiving, since it was like over halfway into the season.
Yeah, that was silly. But I mean, you have a 10-episode TV show, I guess. You kind of do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and they're being wise in the way they tell the story and the fact that they know that they can't age these characters up too much. So season 1 took place, I'm going to say, their sophomore year of school. Season 2, the summer in between sophomore and junior year. And then this, I'm assuming, was their junior year of school. But only the first half of school. Since the tournament has to be in the end of the school year. So season 4 would be the back half of their, I guess, junior year of high school. Unless they're sophomores and the show started when they were freshmen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I already know exactly how the first episode of season 4 is going to start. It's going to start right where it picks up, where it left off, and the kids are going to have no fucking idea what they're doing because
they're going to get two completely different
types. Right? It's going to start exactly like that, and they're both going to go and then it's like Cobra Kai. Yeah, that's exactly how that started.
What are some other things to bring up in regards to the season? What did you think of? Well, what did you think of Hawk's whole arc throughout the season? Did you think it was too sudden? Did you think it made sense based on how things had been going for the previous few episodes?
It should have happened sooner. Honestly, I think it should have happened sooner, but there was a really good turning point for it. But I felt like all last season it was sort of that teeter-totter for him, and then they did it some more, and he just got extra bad. But they did it at a good time. That was the perfect time to see it happen.
Yeah, I wasn't like. It felt to me like more that he turned because he realized Robbie was going to become the number one guy, and not even the fact that he was like felt bad about everything. Because like when the scene when Robbie's like steals the snake and stuff like that, you can see like him being upset already at that point in time. Like he was losing like his cool like number one guy type of position. But
I think he fought between that and the fact that Robbie kicked Miguel off the balcony and broke his back.
That's true.
And that was
that's true. He always had the problem with him throughout the season because of that.
Yeah. I think it was more that like, he really was starting to falter, and he noticed the error of his ways, and his friend, was about to get his arm broken again, and he decided, enough with this bullshit. I don't really care that much for that character anymore. Like I remember feeling sympathetic for him in the first season, but the second season really solidified him as a piece of shit. It was nice seeing them come back together, I guess.
Yeah.
But my favorite one was the little kid with the glasses and the little Asian kid that were the best friends. And he goes, "I wouldn't even come to your funeral if you died." I was laughing my ass off.
This is not going to work.
They're like 7, and they're saying, I thought that was so funny.
And Yasmin hooking up with Dimitri. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
Since they did sort of set that up at the end of season 1. So that was like a long payoff. So that was good. I'm trying to think of some other.
She wasn't in season 2, was she?
No. What was interesting was there were a lot of characters that weren't in season 2 that came back for season 3.
And then there's the one girl, what's his face? Is Diaz's friend, the bigger girl,
Aisha,
who they explained her away in the first episode.
I think she was the only like big character that didn't come back.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
Yeah, and maybe the creators have said maybe like nobody's written off. Like if you're on Cobra Kai or if you were in any of the movies with Pat Morita, like you're always going to be welcome to be like on and off, like when the story entails. So
Yeah, it's not like she's like a super main character. As long as you got the core 7 or 8 people that make the show,
exactly.
it's. How about Chosen coming back?
Yeah. The whole,
I guess I've seen Karate Kid 2 because I
you
remember most
remember
of
the
the
fight at the
flashbacks.
end and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
that was a
thought
great scene.
that Chosen stuff was solid, and what is the female lead from Karate Kid Part 2?
I forgot her name.
Well, whatever her name was. Kamiko?
She
Was
was
that
great.
it?
Something like that.
We're going to call her Kamiko. And we'll
No, that was that's from The Voice.
that is from The Boys, which also has
Yeah.
Elizabeth Shue. God damn it. Well, whatever the girl's name is, I thought she gave a solid performance as
Yeah.
well and served a very strong purpose. Reading the letter from
Pat. Yeah, from Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi to
You were close. She's Kumiko.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah, you had it.
But yeah, as for coming up, I guess is that Terry Silver that he called on the line, his army, army buddy from Karate Kid Part 3.
I've never seen Karate Kid Part 3.
Yeah,
they had the one flashback to it in that one, I think, because that was the second tournament.
We're gonna have to watch that at some point over the next year because I have to imagine that's what it is. And then at this point, I guess the only like returning character has to be like Hilary Swank at some point.
Oh, I don't think they're gonna do that.
They said if any movie with Pat Morita, it's canon and is eligible for being on the show.
Okay,
that's amazing.
It wouldn't surprise me if eventually they get Oscar winner Hilary Swank to appear on Cobra Kai.
As long as she doesn't go anywhere near any benches when she's fighting or little stools. No $1 million baby in Cobra Kai. We already had one broken neck.
That was
another
one more than we needed to see in our life.
I mean, shit, it'll heal in like 5 months anyway, so it probably doesn't.
Touche. There's not going to be euthanasia. You're not going to. You're not going to see fucking Daniel go and pull the plug. It's going to be very different.
Yeah.
But anything else that you want to talk about in regards to the season or anything that you foresee coming up? Do you think it's going to go over 4 seasons, or do you think the story?
I think 4 is the perfect amount.
Yeah.
Close it out on the right foot and do something else.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Similar?
I think 4 is the way, like, it's setting up the end game. Like we said, like, end game set, it seems like it would end in 4. I just don't know if it's such a big hit that I don't know what they would do after season 4. Since it is
Netflix, though.
It is so clear.
They might end it now.
That's true. Next week, they're like, oh, this show was huge. We're canceling it. It's actually the first one they're producing because YouTube produced the 3rd one, and Netflix was just the first to air it because they got out of the whole originals game. So Netflix bought season 3 from them.
Right.
After it was
That's
already
a little
filmed.
alarming. That's a little alarming.
I mean, it didn't really have a following on YouTube, so.
No.
But yes, I get what you mean by alarming. But I know I had read that every script for season 4 has already been written.
Okay.
They just got to go into production, which probably will be somewhat of a pain in the ass in LA during the middle of this whole COVID thing. But my hope is beginning of next year is when it airs, if not December of this year.
They seem to have been able to crank TV shows out. I've seen some really horrible TV shows where they're wearing masks and stuff now, because that's what we're all going to want to watch and remember on television. But that's fine. Hopefully they're able to do it, and it'll come out. Hopefully by the end of this. Probably not this year, right? It'll probably be summer.
My guess would be the beginning of next year.
Beginning of next year.
Beginning of 2022.
I guess that makes sense. That'd be a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited.
But yeah, we'll definitely talk more about this once Corey catches up on it, probably pretty soon. I imagine it will be on his list of shows he watched or movies
I'm gonna watch it this week.
It's a lofty goal, man.
It's gonna happen.
Pretty much locks you in on the outline for next week.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it this week.
And we're trying to get Doug to go back and just give it a full shot.
Yeah.
He just has to embrace the
I'll watch it.
You just have to embrace the cheese. And
I've just gotta like find times when my wife is not around to watch, which is usually the morning on the weekends. Is
I
like I've got a couple hours.
I really think this is a show that like anyone can watch and enjoy. Like it,
Yeah.
yes, there's
Yeah.
karate, but it's like a comedy. It's like a high school like show.
Soap opera.
It's a soap
So
opera. It,
she like nixed it after the couple episodes we saw.
oh, okay. Oh, so that's why you
Wow.
stopped watching Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I mean, if my wife was into it, we probably would have just plowed through it. But this is one. This is one where
Interesting.
she just like it was too much cheese, too much cheese for her.
Damn. All right then. My mistake.
Rest in peace.
Okay then.
Sorry,
That's it then. But we'll get back.
there are people. There are people that don't love Cobra Kai out there.
She just didn't watch enough of it.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Yeah, to anyone that's watching it right now and is just getting onto the spoiler section, give it the whole season. If you think it's a little slow, give it the whole season. That's the non-spoilery takeaway of this season.
Agreed. It's only a 6-hour investment at most.
I did it all today.
Yeah, I did it
So
all.
you can do it too.
I did it all on Friday.
Yeah.
I'll do it. It'll probably take me a few weeks though.
Go for it.
Doug's got to carry
I
an
don't have
iPad
6
around the
hours
house.
alone. Just
Sneaky.
Doug's gonna bring his computer into the fucking bathroom and just like
Bang out an episode.
put headphones in and watch it.
What are you
be on
doing
more
in there,
calls
Doug?
and be like, yeah, I heard you. Sounds good.
Just join an HOA. Apparently, you can do whatever the fuck you want during meetings.
That's the truth.
All right. But yeah, that's it. We'll next up we'll move into our feature presentation. Let's do it. Best of 2020 movie edition.
Woo!
So we obviously already covered TV a couple weeks ago. We've gotten a chance to catch up on some more movies. Even despite a pandemic and movie theaters being closed, there still were a lot of films this year. Not many that JP watched.
I didn't even know movies came out.
He
This
went
year.
down the
I'm
rabbit
sorry.
hole throughout this year of watching movies pre-2020, which nothing wrong with that. It gives a lot of variation for the what we watch section of our program. But yeah, surprisingly, there were a lot of good movies still this year. There's a fair amount of variation between the four of our lists. Similar to last time, we'll start with our number 3 picks, work our way up. And Corey, we will let you start with your number 3 pick.
So my number 3 was Christopher Nolan's zany time travel epic known as Tenet.
Not time travel.
Yeah.
Inversion.
Time travel.
There's time travel.
It's time
Tenet.
There's
travel.
time travel.
It's his.
Uh-oh.
It's an overlap, I guess.
You said you understood the
Time
movie, but
inversion.
clearly you don't. It's not time travel. It's
time
inversion.
Oh no! Are we
time
gonna be,
inversion.
are
Time
we gonna be that?
manipulation. Okay, so yeah,
It's time travel.
It's a different way to do it.
Chris Nolan disagrees.
He does, but he disagrees about
He's
his
wrong.
sound
It's
mixing
time
too.
travel.
The director of the movie and his entire concept, he's wrong.
His sound mixing.
I've got a little treat for you guys. I have Christopher Nolan joining our call right now. Chris.
Christopher Nolan,
no.
you're wrong.
You don't understand your own product.
Yeah,
If only you market it as
Suck
time
at sound
travel.
mixing.
This movie was definitely. I mean, I still have to catch up on a lot of movies from 2020, but as of the ones that I did see, this one definitely stuck with me. I've seen it twice now. I think it's definitely one of my favorite movies from Nolan. It's just it's so different than anything that I've really have seen before. And it has like his signature twists on it. Just a great popcorn flick, that has a lot of substance. And definitely out of all the films that I've seen this year, it stands out in a lot of ways. Great cast, great action. It's just definitely one of the best movies for me that I saw this year. I find it funny because I feel like this movie we should have seen such a long time ago if it was a perfect world. If you go back and think about when the movie was supposed to come out. And then all of us finally got a chance to see it only recently. So, but it was worth the wait. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Definitely gonna watch it for a third time and probably a fourth, and hopefully understand the film a little bit more and its time travel ness.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, Doug and myself both have it on our lists as well. We'll get to their placement as we go along. But yeah, what surprised me about the movie was how much, while as large scale and crazy as it is, I mean, the stuff that I liked the most about it was just the story between Elizabeth Debicki, John David Washington, and Kenneth Branagh. They're just like yin and yang of being a good and bad person, and how you treat Elizabeth Debicki, because she goes through the ringer with Kenneth Branagh, and good thing John David Washington comes into play.
Yeah, it's a when I thought back about 2020, this is a movie where I just saw it pretty recently. And when it ended, I was just like, I really enjoyed that movie. There's not a lot of movies I've seen this year where I was just like, just walked away like really happy with the movie
Outside of Hubie Halloween.
outside of Phoebe Halloween. Uh, but
Spoiler:
this
my
is
number one movie of the year.
but this was one of them for me, and so that's why I definitely placed it in my top movies of the year. I thought my wife pointed out that it was weird how much John David Washington cared for that character, the female character. Who's the actress?
Elizabeth Debicki, the giant
Elizabeth
who
Debicki,
Yeah.
she towers
which I
over
thought
everyone
was
in the movie.
which I thought was a fair critique. Script probably could have used like some fine tuning, and but it didn't matter. It was still awesome. I still loved it.
Yeah, I
It's
think
super
that
convoluted. It's a super convoluted plot, but I dug it. Definitely not as like streamlined and as easy to follow as Inception, which says a lot because a lot of people didn't, including myself, didn't think Inception was particularly easy to follow either. I had to see that multiple times before I felt like I understood what was going on. And even now, I still kind of debate about different parts of that movie, but I enjoyed it. I got what I wanted to get out of a Christopher Nolan movie, um, and so that was nice. He did some cool stuff visually, as he always does. The airplane crashing was neat. I enjoy the practical. I think that's something that you could tell was done practically.
how did
Um,
I don't know if we covered this previously. How did you feel about Ludwig Göransson subbing in for Hans Zimmer for the
Thought he
score?
killed it. I thought he killed it.
yeah, I agree. I think he did a great job on the music.
Yeah,
But I thought, yeah,
dude,
just as
he killed it
just as
between
good.
that and Mando this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I watched like a. I'm gonna get sidetracked, but I watched like him making the Mando music, and he just like took a recorder and started doing like the sound, and was like just starts adding instruments and just like goes from there. But it all started with like a recorder, and I was like,
Yeah, he layers it.
this man's like crazy. He
It's
just
pretty
like
wild
fucking.
that
He's a genius.
he
Yeah,
in the past
I'm
year
excited to see what.
Yeah, his style
He's
is
like a
great.
young guy.
I don't know if I ever told you back in the day. This was like 2011. I went to the city to see um, Childish Gambino, like Donald Glover. Um, he was playing at like a bar. This is the second time I attempted it and actually saw him that time, unlike the time JP and me tried, and he wasn't actually anywhere. Um, but after the show, we were out on the street, and Ludwig's just standing there, like just chilling, talking to people. Naturally, I was trying to talk to Donald Glover since I was a Community fan and a fan of his music. I knew who Ludwig was just because he produced all of his stuff, but I fucking regret not going over and talking to him as well. Since now he's kind of like the 2020s king of like movie music at this point. I mean, he's done what just in the past few years: Mandalorian, Tenet, Black Panther, um, Creed. He basically does everything for Ryan Coogler. And
was he super chill? He seems like he's like a chill
oh,
guy.
oh yeah, no, he was super chill. Like he was talking to like a lot of females at this point. But yeah, no, it's cool just for him. I mean, he's
Just like
subbed it.
smoking a joint.
No, he was on the streets of New York City. He wasn't smoking a joint back in maybe now, not 2011. But yeah, I mean, he's subbed in for John Williams for Star Wars. He's subbed in for Hans Zimmer for Christopher Nolan and stuff. And he's knocked both out of the park.
So hot right
Yeah,
now.
his style is very unique. Like for his scores, it's you kind of like when you've heard a bunch of his scores, like you kind of know, like even with Hans Zimmer, it's the same thing. Like you just know that it's his his type of works.
There was one Mando episode this year that reminded me of the music in Tenet. I think it was like maybe like the sixth. I think it was the Boba Fett episode.
Yeah, I
Um,
could see that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
but yeah, no, I dig his stuff. So I'm excited to see more of that.
You
Anything?
respect what he does.
Definitely, I know who he is. I respect what he does. I respect him. Anything else about Tenet from either of you guys?
No.
No, just that it's definitely a movie worth seeing. For if you're going back and looking at like good movies for 2020. Um, Subtitles are recommended, but it's good. I enjoyed it. I think it did what it needed to do.
All right. If we think of anything else about it, by all means, jump into it when we get down to where it is on your lists and my list. Doug, you're number 3.
Yeah, so I went a little since we didn't get a lot of mainstream movies this year. I started going down the independent rabbit hole, and Sound of Metal is one of those movies, independent movies that I enjoyed. Um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. I don't know if people listening are familiar with it, but the movie basically follows a drummer in this metal. They call it a band, but it's really just him and another woman.
So it's like the White Stripes.
Yeah,
But metal.
but metal.
I heard metal fans were like, "This is not metal. Stop saying it's metal."
Might not be. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't
haven't seen
know.
it either.
It's not good. The music, like we were like, can we? Or my wife was just like, can we fast forward through like their performance? um, but they play it. But he like rapidly starts losing his hearing, which I don't think in real life happens that way, from what I've heard. But the drummer like very rapidly loses hearing in both of his ears, um, to the point where he can't make out what people are saying, and so he enters a rehab. He's also, I guess, got a drug addiction problem that they didn't really focus too much on in the movie. But he enters a rehab. He enters rehab, but it's like a deaf rehab, and so he has to learn how to like do sign language and be like a deaf person because he can't communicate with people. Um, but what I think, like, just thinking back on this movie, what I think the movie did particularly well was that they do a good job of putting you in the shoes of the person that's of this guy that's deaf, and so like one of the scenes he's going to the pharmacy to try to get help, and you can't hear what the pharmacist is saying because they like muffle it in the sound editing. So you kind of feel you're in his shoes where you're like, what the fuck is this person saying? And then they'll take you outside of his shoes so you can actually hear what's going on. And they do a good job throughout that movie of kind of like putting you in his shoes. And that's what I really liked about this movie is I kind of felt like I felt like I empathized with the character a lot, where I was like, oh shit, that would suck if I couldn't hear what anyone was saying. We gotta learn how to do sign language, like interact in this deaf community that I've never been a part of before. It was eye opening how losing like this sense of hearing would just like completely change your life.
Yeah.
And it really like did a good job of making me feel like what's in this guy, like being in this guy's shoes, of just like not being able to understand what people are doing, or what people, I mean, not what people are doing, what people are saying. And um, yeah, I just thought the movie did a good job of making me feel how this character felt and understand like his frustration. And I mean, the guy was in a band. I'm putting myself in his shoes.
Like sound is incredibly
But
important
like
in what
sound
he
is what he
does, what
relies
he
on.
loves. Yeah, that's brutal.
Could you
So
say
like,
that he was in a death metal band?
oh,
I got you.
I'll see myself out.
but yeah, the way I thought they did that particularly well, is making me empathize with the character. I thought the acting was really well done. Um, but yeah, it
There was
also
an
kind of like brought me into like the deaf community, which I didn't really know a lot about. And my wife was like, did took like American Sign Language courses in college and things like that, and so she was able to kind of like explain to me like things that like the movie doesn't spoon feed you about the deaf community. She was able to kind of explain to me like, oh, this is what they're doing and that's what they're doing, um, which I know most people don't have that, and I think maybe that's a negative about the movie, is they don't spoon feed you, and so you don't necessarily know what they're talking about. But overall, the movie was well done. I like that it was something different, and I like that it put me in the shoes of somebody that would lost their hearing, and what it's like to try to live your life and do like completely normal things and not be able to hear what people are saying.
It sounds.
Um,
I don't think any of you guys have seen what I'm going to refer to. There's an episode of Master of None, Aziz Ansari's show, that it followed the perspective. The whole episode is just following the perspectives of like three random New Yorkers, and one of them is a deaf woman. And so for 1/3 of that episode, I believe, it follows her POV, and the sound is off for that third of the episode. And it was just a
oh,
really neat experimental type of thing where you're following this woman as she's trying to interact with people that, well, yes, like she interacts with people that know sign language, going to the store and trying to interact and things like that. Um, it sounds like
yeah,
it reminds me of
it
that.
does sound a lot like that. Um, it sounds like someone took that episode and made it into a movie.
Yeah.
He's not like completely deaf, so like you hear stuff, but it's muffled to the point where you might as well not hear what people are saying.
And hearing aids wouldn't work in this type of case, I'm assuming.
No, it's like it's to the point where like hearing aids wouldn't work. I think his only option in the movie was cochlear implants.
Gotcha. Damn.
Didn't it happen to the lead singer of AC/DC very recently? He was kicked out of the band because his hearing was so bad, and then they eventually brought him back in, I think.
Angus Young.
Wow.
I think it was Angus.
Angus
Yeah,
Young.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it's one of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got kicked out, but I know he had hearing issues. He was
I think
losing
he
it.
got kicked out for a quick minute, then they managed to like bring him back because he was. I don't know if it was Angus or not, but the doctor basically said you do like 3 or 4 more shows and you're not going to be able to hear anymore.
Yeah.
And he's an older
that's
guy,
gotta
an
be like
Australian, so he's
the
like,
roughest
"Fuck
thing
you!
to hear.
I don't believe a single word you're saying." But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
kind of
crazy.
that was kind of the Sound of Metal, where they were just like, if you play any more shows, like you're gonna completely lose your hearing.
It's similar to like when you hear
He's
like
back.
athletes.
He's back at the show.
Yeah.
Like when athletes are told like if you get hit like one more time in the head like really badly, like
you're done.
yeah, it's like similar to that, just a different profession.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like that's your livelihood. Like that's all you know, and you have a doctor telling you like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Find something else.
So was Reese Ahmad as good as people say? As good as the critics
He
have
was
said?
really good. Yeah, I thought he was really good. I thought he did a really great job. Um, I thought this, like I said, I thought the direction of it was also really good. So I think it was a combination of those two. But yeah, I think he's. What is he like a hot pick for Oscars season?
Yeah, he's somebody that people have been talking about a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll. I could see him getting nominated. I think there's performances I like better this year.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't win.
we'll get to our performances at some point later this year. Probably closer towards like a award season, which is late this year.
Yeah, this is
All
one
right.
that's on my list that I definitely want to watch sooner than later.
And it's on Prime Video, right?
Yeah, it's Prime. It's free. It's easy enough
Sweet.
to watch.
Cool. All right. JP, your number 3 is an interesting pick.
Yeah, my number 3
Controversial.
is 3 of 4 movies that I've seen this year. So
No, you've seen like 10. You just didn't like six or 7 of them.
that's true. I didn't like a whole lot of them. This I will say is my most watched movie that came out in 2020 because I've watched it twice now.
In 1 week.
Yeah, in 1 week, and that is of course Wonder Woman 84, which a lot of people have been shitting on, and I still don't understand why, because I don't think it's that bad of a movie. I thought it was rather entertaining. Even the second time, it was still pretty damn entertaining, and the villains are fantastic.
The villain.
No, both of them.
No,
There's 2 villains.
There's 2 villains.
I know, I'm
and
just
they're
saying the
both
villain
equally as
is
compelling.
Fantastic.
And I will say, I didn't see it the second time. The first time they show Cheetah, she is fucking horrifying looking. Not in like a stupid way, but actually kind of intimidating looking.
Yeah, you wouldn't
The
want
non-CGI cheater.
You wouldn't want to cross her.
Yeah, when they show her like calmly walking over the top and her eyes are glowing, that is fucking horrifying. The rest of that, it looks better than the trailer did, so they at least put some work into that. There's still 2 completely horrible shots in this movie. And that's where she's running through DC and then throws the thing. So she's running, but it just looks so fucking good. And then when they're
her
in
feet
Egypt,
don't even like touch the ground. I don't think.
No, they don't. It looks so bad. And then the worst one, and this is like on the level of American Sniper bad with fake children, is in the car chase in Egypt when she saves those 2 children and she's tumbling. The kid's arms are like rock solid, and it's so clearly a mannequin that's tumbling with the stunt double. It's laughably bad, and it's like someone watched that and was like, "Fuck it, no one will notice," but I did twice.
No one's gonna watch this movie more than once.
Yeah, I noticed it the first time, and I had a nice laugh, and I showed my wife, and we both had a real nice laugh about that. That was fucking terrible.
I can't see that. Was it really like? I don't remember seeing that. I remember like feeling like the kid hit the ground pretty hard, but like
the
really,
arms
like,
don't move at all.
American Sniper is pretty bad.
Dude, it's so clearly a mannequin in this. It's pretty bad. Yeah, other than that, I think it's just a fairly entertaining movie. I like some of the cheese, and I like the villains. I don't think Gal Gadot really did a very good job acting, but that's
she never
par for
does.
the course.
Is it Gadot or Godot?
Gadot.
I always
Gadot. She pronounces the T, but very like subtly.
Because I always said Gadot back in the Fast days, and then I switched it to Godot, thinking I was saying it wrong. And I guess now we're going back to Gadot.
We're going back.
Let's go live in that Gadot phase.
So this is fun.
Yeah, the sheer lack of things that I saw this year that entertained me, this thoroughly entertained me. And I figured it deserves number 3 on my spot.
Hey.
Buckle up, it's a ride for my 3.
Well, nothing wrong with that. All right. My number 3 was Tenet. So for this section, we are going to have our entire conversation that we had for Corey's, but we're going to do it backwards. So this is going to be fun. We're going to say every single word from that last portion, but backwards. So get ready.
Hey, it's like not time travel.
It's inversion. It's completely different. It's palindromes and shit like that. But
Race
seriously,
car.
I mean, if we got into spoilers, there's time travel.
I know what you're saying, and I agree with the fact that
It's
very
still-
much seems like time travel.
It still is time travel.
While
It's
they
time
just
manipulation.
claim that it's inversion, where you're inverting yourself back in time and can do
Yeah,
things
yeah, I mean,
completely differently when you're back in time.
It's just a different
But,
Who could
method.
forget that? Who could forget that classic inversion movie, Back to the Future?
Inversion to
All
the
right,
future.
Doug, let's not get too crazy.
I believe that the original title was Invert to the Future.
Yeah, the
But
method is just
they
different.
changed it for some reason. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis were like, nah, a little confusing. Let's call it time travel.
You know why? It's because Chris Nolan inverted Back to the past and copyrighted it before Back to the Future.
He went back to 1984, changed things before it came out in 1985. Makes sense. That was probably their wish in 1984. They talked to the guy from your movie, and boom.
Yeah, Chris Nolan was like, "This is your cousin, Marvin Nolan."
Sir, I can't understand you. You sound like you've never talked to another human being in your life.
Yeah, you know that new
You need to keep
inversion
this one
movie
pretty
you've been
close to
looking
your
for?
chest.
Well, listen to this. Boom.
Oh man.
All right. Let's loop it back to Corey for your number 2.
No, we're not talking about Looper. Leave that movie out of this. That came out fucking years ago,
That
man.
doesn't count as time travel either. They're looping.
They're doing the loop thing, method.
The loop
So my number 2 is another time-centric, time manipulation film, Palm Springs. So Andy Samberg stuck in a time loop at like a resort, and he meets this girl that ends up getting stuck in the time loop with him. It's hilarious. Definitely one of the most unique films I've seen, not only this year, just in general. Just the dialogue and the way that the movie unfolds was way different than I was expecting. Because I know Murph recommended it to me, and we watched it like one night. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just knew it was about like a time loop.
I believe
And
all 4 of us watched it, and it's on another list.
yeah.
Whose list could that be?
So I mean the cameos were awesome. Yeah, I mean it's, if you like comedies and you like time manipulation, definitely would recommend checking this movie out for sure. It was definitely one of the most unique films I saw this year. So, JP.
Yeah, I mean, JP, you have it on your list.
Yeah.
You have it on your list.
It's
So, anything you want to add?
Also number 2 on my list as well. It was great little rehash of Groundhog, and I thought all the performances in it were fun, which is surprising because it's a movie that stars Andy Samberg.
I was gonna.
I don't fucking hate. So
I was going to say. I mean, I did say it before you jumped on. When I projected that this movie would be on your top 3, I was like, JP, if you had talked to him at the beginning of 2020 and told him,
if you had inverted,
if we inverted back to the beginning of 2020 and told him that one of his 3 favorite movies of the year is going to star Andy Samberg, he would never fucking believe it. I feel like you would have thought the pandemic was more possible than fucking liking this Andy Samberg movie.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And he does a good job carrying it.
Yeah.
So does I actually forget who the fuck's in this movie too. I know that J.K. Simmons is in it.
Yeah,
Who's
J.K.
the female
Simmons,
lead?
Christina Milioti.
Kristen Milioti.
Don't know who she is, but she did a great job.
She's a Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey folk.
And she's a Jersey folk. Just so many strikes against this movie. I still like
so
it. Wow. Look at that. So many things I don't like. No, I had a lot of fun, and when I was remembering movies of this year, this one actually made me laugh, and I remember taking a look at it and just truly enjoying it. I mean, it's Groundhog's Day. but in a modern, more raunchy, I guess, type of deal, like what you would do if you. There's a fair amount of suicide in Groundhog's Day too.
Yeah, there is.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a ton of suicide.
There's lots of death
Yeah.
in any time loop movie.
Oh God,
Happy
I mean,
Death Day, as we've talked about
it's
extensively
true.
on this show this year or last year.
TV show Russian Doll.
Russian Doll, which you guys,
Yeah.
JP and Corey, still need to watch. Oh, I think it would be this way actually. If
Yeah,
Yep.
it is that way.
yeah. Although, wouldn't I be
Man.
facing you then? All right, fuck it. I don't know how. I'm inverting my finger.
We're inverting this episode.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
it's,
gotta
just
watch
a
it.
solid it's a solid time inversion movie.
The fact that you guys both have Palm Springs on your list and haven't seen Russian Doll is a shame. You guys need to check it out.
Oh, and Doug, there is an awesome Russian Doll reference on Big Mouth, which is reason enough to continue watching that show.
Sweet.
Just
I
get to season
I finished
4.
the first season, so I've just got to power through 3 more seasons.
There you go.
Do you have to watch that one in the shadows as well?
He does.
Probably.
A season and a half of that.
I think you just need to cut out sleeping and just start watching movies instead of sleep.
Seems like a solid plan.
Yeah. Just invert when you have to go to work,
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I've never seen the goddamn movies, so.
No, yeah, just invert myself.
You got an idea there, my friend. All right. Anything else about Palm Springs?
No.
Not that I can think of.
All right. Doug, you're number 2?
My number 2 was a movie from the newish anthology series, Small Axe, which is on Amazon Prime. The only episode I saw of it was The Mangrove, and I really enjoyed the episode.
So is it a movie or is it TV?
From what I've seen, people are counting it as a movie.
I've been seeing
I think my instinct would have been
Never even heard of
TV
it.
because it's considered like an anthology, but I mean it's like a 2+ hour episode. I don't know. They're counting it. From what I've seen, people online are counting it as a movie, so I'm going to count it as a movie too.
Fair enough.
So The Mangrove takes place in the 70s, and follows basically this guy that is from like the West Indies. It's not clear if he's from like Jamaica or what island he's from in the West Indies, but he's from the West Indies. He's had another establishment before in England, and he opens up this establishment in London. It's a restaurant, and a lot of other people from the West Indies kind of flock to this restaurant. And of course, like, racism being a thing, gets like a lot of shit from police, and there winds up being a trial. A few people. It's a lot like the Chicago 7, in that there's like, I want to say like 8 people, all from the West Indies. That part is not like the Chicago 7, but it's like 8 people that are all part of this trial, and so they all have to kind of represent themselves in a London court trial, and it's cool. I dug it. Thinking back on movies I saw this year, Chicago 7 was definitely one that I really liked a lot, and I felt like I liked this one more. It felt similar in the fact that it was a group of people being put on trial and having to defend themselves, but there were some differences in this one. I felt like this one focused, because it was all of a group of people that were of the same culture, like this West Indies culture. You kind of got a feel for that. There was like Bob Marley music. There was other Caribbean type music that are played throughout the movie. The trial was a little fairer than the Chicago 7. The judge actually
Was competent,
which I kind of enjoyed, because I thought Chicago 7, the judge was like way too incompetent, that it just like wasn't a real trial and it was hard to watch. But yeah, I just like Chicago. I'm going to keep comparing this to Chicago 7 just because that's the other movie I saw this year that's very similar to it. But Chicago 7 felt like very much like a Hollywood movie, and this felt a little bit more intimate. Um, like when the verdict is read, the camera just stays on the restaurant owner, and his reaction as it's all going on. It just felt more intimate. Um, I don't remember the actress's name, but Shuri from Black Panther is one of the main people that are put
Okay.
on trial in this episode, and she kills it. She does an awesome job. Um, I think any doubts I had about her playing, like taking on the Panther mantle, um, I mean, this definitely showed me that she's got the chops to do that role justice. So that was neat. But I thought the acting all around was great. I thought the directing was awesome. Story was good. Just a movie I really enjoyed. I don't know if you guys have heard about Black Axe or Small Axe at all, but seems to be making a lot of rounds as far as top TV shows or top movies, uh, at least for like awards consideration.
Yeah, now I'm familiar with it. And I'm a big Steve McQueen fan. I saw his last three movies and really enjoyed Shame, and well, I saw his last four movies actually. I saw every movie he made, and I really like Shame and 12 Years a Slave. But despite how both of them are incredibly depressing movies, but and is Small Axe kind of like depressing as well, or is it more, or the one you saw of the five?
Yeah, so um, my wife had to stop watching about halfway through because she was like, "My blood is boiling. I cannot watch this movie anymore." And so I watched the second half of the movie by myself.
Gotcha. Sounds like
Um,
12 Years a Slave.
but I would say probably right when she left, it got better. Like I said, the Chicago 7 was the trial was just so infuriating because it didn't feel like they were getting a fair shot. This there was wins in the trial where you at least were like, okay, like the judge is sort of fair and that he's like giving them a shot to represent themselves. So in that respect, I thought it was less infuriating,
Are
but
you gonna watch the other four parts?
I think so. I think it's an interesting take because I'm so used to like American racism that London racism is just kind of like a new thing for me. It was interesting that like the racism was directed at black people that were from the West Indies because like that's not racism I'm used to seeing in America, on TV or in movies. And so like seeing everyone like jam out to Bob Marley and the police bust in is just like it was kind of new to me, with the bobbies. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I appreciate the fact that like it was kind of a different perspective, and I think that probably adds to the reason I liked it. It was just because it was different. It was something I hadn't seen before.
All right. Did Corey or JP, did either of you hear of it previously?
No,
No,
this is the
it
first time.
doesn't sound like my cup of tea, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be interested in seeing this. So, um, 12 Years a Slave, I
Yeah,
did see. I don't really remember much about it, but I did like that movie a lot. Um,
it's definitely not for everybody.
yeah,
I don't. 2020 was pretty depressing year, and it's kind of like not definitely not an uplifting movie by any stretch of the imagination. So, um, as long as you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Okay. JP, did you have any other words about your number two, Palm Springs, that you thought of in
No.
the last 5 minutes?
Nope.
Okay.
I got it
Um,
all out when Corey brought it up.
Fair enough. My number two film was Bad Education. It was actually released on HBO back in April, I believe, late April. And funny enough, I talked about it on the first practice episode that we did of Live
Ah.
Breathe Film. We didn't actually air it, but there were two episodes that we just did as practice, and this was on the first one. Um, so basically, this film it was at the film festivals back in 2019, and then uh, I think it was the Toronto Film Festival, and then HBO picked it up there. But it blew my mind when I watched it that it was not like a theatrical film this year, because I thought it was fantastic and that Hugh Jackman, who was the star of the film, was absolutely worthy of being like a Best Actor nominee. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, yes, he lost the Emmy of Best Actor to Mark Ruffalo this year. But Mark Ruffalo was in a miniseries, which kind of gives that more of an edge since it's a lot longer because they combine movies and miniseries. But I thought he absolutely crushed it and was like the first time that I'm like, damn, is Hugh Jackman like a really good actor? And like we just don't know it because he does a lot of like he does a lot of superhero movies. He does, granted, he was fantastic in Logan. He does a lot of musicals, which, yes, he can sing and everything like that, cool, but doesn't necessarily show his like dramatic range. Um, he's only really done so many straight like dramas throughout his 20-year career or whatever. But this one deals with him as a um, Doug, you just watched it. He's principal, correct?
No, he's
Or
like
is this superintendent?
superintendent or something.
Superintendent, but
Yeah,
he stays in the school that he's in, um,
correct.
and it's dealing with the fact that him and his assistant at the school have been embezzling money for years. They're out in Long Island. It's based on a true story, and a student at the school actually breaks the case that this members of the faculty have been stealing money from the school, like millions of dollars um, over years. And throughout the
Yeah.
movie, you're just seeing how much of a facade, like Hugh Jackman's character in particular, has been putting on. He's just not the person that he presented himself to other faculty, to students, the
To
parents,
you as like the
to the
viewer
viewer.
too.
Yeah, he's a completely different person than what you're expecting. Um, I guess the reveal about like who he really is comes even like more than halfway into the movie. Like you know the fact that he's been taking money, but you don't know much more than that. Um,
I
so
don't think I even knew that going into the movie.
okay, you didn't. Okay, I knew from the trailers, and I was like, oh,
Okay, I
this
was.
movie looks pretty cool. It looks like
Uh,
slightly funny and slightly crazier than like a
do
truth
you
is
know
crazier than fiction type thing. Which
the uh, the woman that plays the reporter, the school reporter?
yeah,
She's
from
Muslim.
she was in
What you
Blockers.
say, cockblock?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was fantastic
cockblockers.
in Blockers.
She was. There was like a fan petition. She was. People were trying to get her to be Miss Marvel.
I was gonna
Obviously, like
I was
she
gonna
doesn't
say
become Miss
Kamala
Marvel.
Khan. She would be like awesome for, but I guess she is a little bit older than the character would supposed to be. Um,
Yeah.
or she could just play high schoolers for her entire life, since all I know her from is Bad Education and Blockers. But yeah, the movie was it's solid drama, but with a good amount of um, comedy to it. Again, like the fact that it's as ridiculous as it is will just make you laugh. Um, but yeah, that was my thoughts on the film. And Doug, you just watched it, so you're definitely fresher than I am. If there was anything you wanted to add to it,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to talk too much about it just because it's not on my top three. But I do want to say it very closely missed my top three as far as movies. It's a great movie. I definitely recommend checking it out. Hugh Jackman, as Murph said, kills it in the role. I thought overall it was like the story was good. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie throughout. I thought a lot of good acting. You got Ray Romano in there.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Shit.
Yeah, he's like probably the third or fourth build person in the movie.
Yeah, he's not in it like a ton, but he's in it, and
He
I thought
makes
he did a good
he makes an
job.
impression when he's in it. The
Um,
one of the kids from Jumanji, from the last two movies, he's in it. He's a student at the school as well.
I thought
The main
you
one
didn't
from
talk you didn't talk about her, but I thought Allison Janney just like knocked it out of the park too as her role, which was like assistant to the superintendent, or she
yeah.
was like his second in command.
So she's
Um,
involved in the schemes and knows everything, and is actually way worse than Hugh Jackman when it comes to taking money.
but yeah, I thought she did a great job too. This was definitely a top movie of 2020, and it deserves to be watched, and I deserves to be on a top list of 2020 movies. So I'm glad you included it.
Yeah, for sure. It can definitely be found on HBO Max. And we didn't mention it, but Palm Springs can be found on Hulu, Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max, Tenet on VOD, Blu-ray, all of those, and The Mangrove on Prime Video. All right, and now let's get into our number one picks. Corey?
So not only is this my number one pick, but it's also probably the movie that from 2020 that I watched the most. The Invisible Man. I uh, I really really like this movie. I thought I thought that the performances as a whole were fantastic, and this was something that I really wasn't looking forward to too much. I kind of went in with very low expectations for the most part, and it really blew it out of the water. Elizabeth Moss killed it, um, and it was just a really good spin on this well known Universal horror character. They uh, they really updated it and made it really not even terrifying. It was just it so much anxiety and tension throughout the entire movie. Like the build up and steadiness of the tension throughout the entire film was really 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 well done. So and had some great twists in it. I know Doug and Murph saw it. I don't remember. I don't know if JP saw it, but did you?
No, I slept pretty well
Oh,
this year.
okay. So
I didn't have a ton of nightmares.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, then I've gone back multiple times, since the movie came out. Murph and I saw it in theaters, and then when it got, dropped as an early release on VOD, I picked it up and watched it a bunch of times since then. It's a great movie. Yeah, I have really no complaints. Maybe other than the length. Maybe it's a little too long, but it's just fantastic, fantastic film. Definitely my favorite movie that I've seen this year.
It's a Universal Monsters film.
Yep.
It's like actually the
Yeah.
Invisible
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
That's cool.
what's interesting about this movie, and I read about this pretty recently. This was actually supposed to tie into the Tom Cruise Mummy
Oh
movie,
Lord.
I
and
bet.
when that because they were going to do a monster universe, cinematic universe,
Yeah,
and
the dark universe.
yeah,
Yeah.
when that movie bombed, they had to go back and kind of rewrite. I'm pretty sure the film itself.
Recalibrate it, and Blumhouse took over.
Yeah. I think I read that a lot of the story is very much the same. They just had to remove it from that continuity, I
Yeah. Probably
guess.
Tom Cruise popped in as the
Yeah,
mummy,
I
and
can't imagine this
Russell
being
Crowe
an
popped in.
R-rated movie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if
I was
this
gonna
was
say,
supposed
is
to be
there like
part
a
of that whole
post-credit scene somewhere?
if this was going to be part of that dark universe, it would not have been like the R-rated, like kind of
No.
brutal movie it was at points.
No.
Um,
But
but they did a really good job with kind of making it, well, definitely modern day, and then kind of making it as realistic as it could possibly be.
yes.
Like the guy's not actually invisible, so they did a good job with how they like it's technology that's like involves mirrors and things like that.
And
Like
cameras.
yeah, like you
Yeah,
can if you
like
fucking hit
how
him with a bat and like you'll be able to break some stuff, I imagine. And part of me, because I saw the movie 10 months ago, I don't remember everything.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah. I mean, it's some of the. I don't think they had a huge budget on this movie, but they do a good job of like lingering camera shots where you just like kind of feel like somebody's in the room, like the way they shoot a shot with Elizabeth Moss. It's kind of shot maybe like wider where it should fit as another person, but there isn't anyone there, and so you can kind of feel a presence even though you don't see anybody there. So like I thought they did a great job just like shooting that movie where it just was like you just kind of felt like there was a presence even just by the way they shot the
Hmm.
movie, but rather than like showing anything. But I guess a knock I would have on this movie is just there's only so many times I can see Elizabeth Moss get abused, and Handmaid's Tale kind of like
I haven't
I'm
seen
already
that.
at my limit.
I haven't seen that, so this was one of the first for me.
Yeah, that probably helped you because I was just like, all right, like I'm numb to Elizabeth Moss getting like
figuring way and
abused.
then figuring out ways to like fight her abusers,
Yeah.
which would, was way quicker in Invisible Man than Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah,
The one
for
thing that
sure.
they definitely played to. I mean, she's has a lot of strengths as an actress, but one thing that I've noticed with her is that she's just such a physical actress. Like you could just see like, the turmoil and, the pain like on her face. Like she does that so well, and they
Yeah,
played to that strength in this
she's been
movie. And
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why the movie felt so uncomfortable, as long as it did. I mean, it basically the I think the tension held until the end of the movie, just steady, and it just kept building a little bit. But she was a great leading actress, leading character. She just knocked it out of the park, along
yeah,
uh with who played Adrian, the antagonist, Oliver Jackson Cohen, I think that's his name. So from Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, he was like terrifying in a very different way. Like he was manipulative, abusive, obviously, and he was a genius. Like the things that he did in the movie were pretty crazy. So definitely one of my number one.
yeah. The team behind Mad Men definitely realized how much you can do just with Elizabeth Moss, like just looking
just
at
abusing her.
zoning in on her face and
Yeah.
head.
I thought he was gonna say that
They were the
too.
first to
Just
abuse
abusing
Elizabeth
her.
I
Moss.
mean, yeah, Don Draper wasn't like always the nicest person in the world to her, but no,
Yeah, it's just
she
like
did not go.
that's her
She did not
role.
go through what she's gone through on Handmaid's Tale or Invisible Man
No,
in on Mad Men. All right,
no, she didn't. She just got like verbally abused by Don Draper.
yeah. All right, Doug. We already covered your number one pick, which was Tenet. Uh,
Tenant,
and
inversion, time travel, whatever you want to call it,
so, no shocker, a Christopher Nolan movie makes your number one. Um,
with
and
time travel.
I don't think we've talked about anything more this year than Tenet. So it is fitting that it made somebody's number one. Any last words in regards to it?
It's time travel.
Fair enough.
Oof.
All right, JP.
Yeah, just like Doug's, it's no shocker that Doug's number one movie of the year is a Christopher Nolan film. It should be no shock that my number one movie of the year is a David Fincher film, and that's Mank. Um, Truly, even outside of 2020, one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in my life. It is shot so well, and the effects on it, it really looks like something that just was made by the eye and the mind of Orson Welles. And I think it hands down has one of the best acting performances by Gary Oldman of the entire year because he just acts the hell out of this movie. He plays that character so well, and it's just he's all over the place, and he's unpredictable, and it was just such a pleasure to watch this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. It's just really all I have to say about Mank. It was truly a pleasure to watch this movie, and it's the number one thing that came into my mind when I thought, well, what have I watched in 2020? And it's Mank, 100%. It's my most anticipated movie of the year, and I feel like it really it met a lot of those expectations for me. Is it Fincher's best movie? No. Is it my favorite one from his? No. But I still really enjoyed it, and I look forward to watching it again.
Yeah,
And
Fincher and Netflix came through on Mank.
yeah, hopefully more to come.
Entertaining. I don't think it had. I was like trying to look up how true or accurate it was. I don't think accuracy was something they were going for, but yeah, it felt like an older movie, which is definitely what Fincher was going for, and I thought he definitely succeeded. So
yeah, that it looked like a movie that was shot back in the 30s or 40s. The only difference being how high quality the picture was. That is the only difference.
From the get go too. That opening title sequence, just from the get go, you knew what you were getting yourself into. It's a great feeling. I mean, for someone that grew up, my mom always had old like Turner Classic movies on, so there's always a black and white movie on that TV, and it felt nice. There's a nice little warm feeling in my bones from that.
In your plums?
My plums, no, not my plums. It's childhood memories, Murph, not my plums memories. No, I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, I cannot wait to watch it again.
Well, first you have to watch The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is also
first. I don't have to do anything. I can watch,
which is also on Netflix tomorrow.
Watch it.
Do you know how many times I've watched Zodiac, Murph?
No, but this could be another one that you add to your rotation.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like that movie, but we'll see.
You like his other serial killer movies.
You will definitely like this movie.
Comes on Netflix tomorrow. So
it's good that you like it.
It would be pretty
based on your love for all things Fincher.
It would be great to talk about next week if you watch it.
Yeah, I will plan on watching that then.
Woohoo! All right, but yeah,
I'm gonna watch Chef again or something stupid. You know that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but Mank is on Netflix. Invisible Man is on HBO Max. Just covering all our bases here. All right, and now we will do my number one, which is only in theaters as of now. It was what I was originally planning on talking about for what we watched, but then when we were doing this list, I'm like, well, I cover it twice. Let's just save it for this. And it will be on VOD on Monday. I think like the $20 VOD. So options. But it is Promising Young Woman. It's the one that stars Carey Mulligan. And she's basically dealing with the aftermath of her friend being raped at a med school party, and how she deals with that, which is essentially minor. I don't want to fully spoil, but she's getting revenge on similar type of guys where she goes to bars, pretends she's drunk, and gets taken home by guys, and then deals with them accordingly. I will not say how. You can find out when you see it. But this film had a third act that stuck with me I saw this last week, and I've thought about it a lot since. Some very solid twists. They get you good a couple times. Maybe some you'll predict, but I don't know if you'll necessarily predict all of them, as some are pretty extreme or outrageous, however you want to define it. But it's anchored by Carey Mulligan. She gives a killer performance. I wouldn't be surprised to see her at the very least be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars. Um, but then what they did the best was they just had a like murderer's row of like familiar faces in the cast. Like there is not like one person in this movie that I didn't know from a movie or a TV show. Um, so you got like Bo Burnham, he's playing the love interest. Other classmates from his school included Max Greenfield from New Girl. You got McLovin and one of the dudes from Veep as like one, and Adam Brody as a few of the guys that she's dealing with are assholes. Along with Stifler's mom, and the warden from not the warden, the main guard from Shawshank Redemption, Clancy Brown. They play her parents, and I thought Clancy Brown was like really good in it for the small amount. Um, Allison Brie, Connie Britton, so you got Coach's wife in this.
Coach.
Laverne Cox from Orange is the New Black, Alfred Molina. Literally everyone in this movie is like a name. So it was pretty impressive. But it's very stylish. It's kind of like similar in it's kind of similar in like um, style to Birds of Prey. Not the tone of the movie, but it's very like it's like cotton candy-ish, like the look and the colors and everything like that. And I found out afterwards that Margot Robbie is a producer of the film.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe her production company has a very clear style to it. But it was a first-time director and writer for film, Emerald Fennell. She was the showrunner of season 2 of Killing Eve. So I had previously watched that this year and liked that season a lot. So it was no real surprise that I would enjoy this film. But yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people are going to be talking about in 2021 since not too many people saw it in theaters over its first week due to the world. But I know, Doug, you had mentioned that it was something that you were looking forward to seeing from the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the trailer looked awesome. I've been dying to see this movie. I think I checked a couple of days ago before I found out that you watched this movie to see if it was available to rent yet. And it's not.
Yeah, the trailer was awesome.
But I've been really looking forward to this movie, so I'm glad to hear that you liked it and that it made your top movies of 2020 because yeah, it hooked me right from the trailer. As soon as like basically what you revealed about the movie is what you see in the trailer, and like as soon as like you see that this guy take her home drunk and she like that switch flips and she's like you find out you figure out like she's sober and she's like fucking with the guy, you're just like, oh fuck, like where is this going?
Yeah, and
Um,
it does a good like it's a funny movie. It's not like a fully serious movie. It's also it gets very serious at certain points, but it's also like pretty funny. And I guess like one of the recurring things is like the first thing like all these like guys think like when she reveals like she's not drunk is they're just like, wait, you're not drunk? And then they like and then they're like backing up. She's like, why is that your number one concern right now? Or like things like that. And just kind of like putting them on the spot. And it's different. It's not fully what I expected from the trailers. It's not as like thriller-ish or like as violent or anything as the trailers made one believe. But it's got some cool twists and turns. And I'll be looking forward to talking about it more in a couple weeks or however long when you guys get to watch it.
Sounds good.
All right. But yeah, that's it. That's 2020. Any honorable mentions or anything like that you want to bring up from the year? Or if not, we can
QB Halloween.
Wrap things up.
QB Halloween.
Yeah, no, QB Halloween was.
I just wanted to bring it up.
It deserves.
Nothing to say
to
about
it deserves to be brought up.
If we're gonna bring up movies, I don't need to talk about them per se, but Ma Rainey's Black Bottom I thought was a good movie. Trial of the Chicago 7 was a good movie of 2020. The The Five Bloods was a good movie of 2020. So there are definitely other honorable mentions I had on the list that didn't make it to the top three.
Yeah.
That Charlize Theron movie from Netflix was
Oh,
pretty
The Old
good.
Yeah,
Guard. That
The
was
Old
good.
Guard was
The Old Guard.
was
The Old
surprising.
Guard was good.
Yeah, it was
Surprisingly
solid.
good. Extraction was a cool action movie. It wasn't like a good movie or anything, but
Yeah.
it had some really cool action scenes.
Yeah, you could tell like a stunt guy is the one that directed it
hmm
because
Yeah.
the action was awesome.
One
Yeah,
call out I
exactly.
have, Freaky. Freaky was awesome. That was a surprise, hit for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
Freaky, and The King of Staten Island were two from Universal that I liked a
yeah.
lot this year. That were close to making the list as well. And another Pete Davidson movie from Hulu, Big Time Adolescence. I thought that one was really good. That it's worth a watch if for people who want a comedy watch during this winter. Yeah, we'll cover. We're not done talking about 2020. We're gonna be talking about 2020 for the rest of our lives.
We're
But
done. 2020 is over.
yeah,
I'm done with 2020, dude.
Yeah, it's
We're talking about
2021,
this
Murph.
again.
no, we're gonna, like I said earlier, we'll talk about some of our favorite performances of the year later on, things like that when we get into award season, like Golden Globes, Screen Actors Guild, Academy Awards, all that shit, later on this winter, spring. But yeah, that's all we got for today. Then, thank you for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe to our podcast, various social media pages, all things like that. Just so you guys know, next week we'll be covering our most anticipated films of 2021. So stay tuned for that episode. That should definitely be a fun one, and there will probably be a lot of overlap if history serves me right. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. Happy New Year.